It's exactly 1 week since Election Day, and Elon Musk's Tesla has been one of the brightest and clearest winners of the post-election Trump trade. Up 30% over just the last 5 sessions, as speculation grows that Donald Trump's second term could be very beneficial to the world's richest man. But Tesla's not the only individual company shooting higher in the last 5 trading days. Let's look at taser maker Axon Enterprise. It has rallied 35% since Donald Trump won re-election. And then, this is kind of outside the box thinking, 2 prison and detention center stocks that have contracts with immigration and customs enforcement are also gaining way more than Tesla or Axon. We've got CoreCivic and GEO Group higher, with CoreCivic up 62% and GEO up 65%. Meanwhile, on Wall Street, they're rallying the troops as analysts expect the incoming administration to open the floodgates to the M&A market. The Biden administration cracked down on deal-making the past 4 years, but will the regulatory roadblocks be removed under Trump's second term? Joining me now in a Fox Business exclusive is Tusk Venture Partners CEO Bradley Tusk. He's been an early investor in everything from Coinbase to Lemonade, Flutters, FanDuel. And you have so many irons in the fire when it comes to startups that you would love to see grow.
Yes.
Maybe be acquired or go public, correct?
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I think because there's been so little liquidity over the last 3+ years, it really has hindered innovation in the U.S. In order for venture capitalists like me to deploy capital, we have to be making money, sending it back to our investors. There has to be a flow. And when everything is at a total dead stop, which is what it's been for over 3 years now, we end up investing at a much slower pace. Fewer new startups are created, fewer new startups survive into their next funding round. And as a result, companies that could potentially become great tech companies and employ a lot of people and pay a lot of taxes one day don't ever get off the ground.
But explain to viewers who don't understand how venture capitalists actually make their money. What do you need to see happen?
Right.
You need to see one of your companies
grow.
Acquired, right?
Yeah. So ultimately, we only can make money if there's what's called an exit, which means either my company goes public, that's an IPO, which is wonderful, but it's like 1 out of 10 at best, right? Or is typically more likely acquired by a bigger tech company, another kind of company, whatever it is. That's how you make money. That's how I make money for my investors, and that's what creates the flywheel to put the money back into the tech ecosystem so that more startups can be created. So when there's a total roadblock on the whole thing, everything grinds to a halt.
The anticipation is that Donald Trump and his administration will not be as much a stumbling block for any kind of merger or acquisition than the Biden administration has been. I mean, Goldman Sachs is projecting that mergers and acquisitions could see something like a 20% pop because of what they see as a much friendlier regulatory.
Yeah, I mean, not just that, it could even be better. I don't want to be wildly optimistic, but I think the IPO market could open up very soon again, and that could start to see a lot of liquidity, a lot more M&A deals, friendlier regulatory treatment to a lot of different tech sectors like crypto and fintech. Interest rates keep getting cut, and so all of the conditions seem to be coming together now for a really strong period in venture capital, which is great for tech and great for the economy.
Well, the top cop at the Federal Trade Commission, Lena Khan, you think she's going?
Oh, yeah. I mean, she would seem like she is. I know that J.D. Vance does like her, and I do think that there is this weird little thing where on the extreme big tech companies, the far left and far right do kind of come together. But overall, yeah, I think she has been seen in the venture community, the business community broadly, as a major impediment to M&A, to growth, to liquidity, and I think that Trump will remove her immediately.
I mean, just today, the DOJ sued to block the United Health's $3.3 billion purchase of home health services company Amedisys. They said if these two merge, then home health care, which is a huge and burgeoning area,
and growing,
will become way more expensive. How is that wrong? I mean, it kind of sounds like it makes sense.
No, it might not be. I don't think anyone, including Trump, is saying that we shouldn't review mergers to make sure that consumers aren't put at a disadvantage. The reason why you want to have an FTC is to say, okay, if these two companies combine, can they control the market and control pricing to a point where consumers are going to have to pay a lot more? Nobody wants that on either side of the aisle. But there is a distinction between saying, these deals are clearly problematic for consumers, and we just generally don't trust and like corporations overall, and we're going to discourage all of them from doing activity with each other. That's a problem.
I love looking at your website at Tusk Ventures because there's this panoply of names that I have yet to hear about.
You will. Some of them.
That are up and running. Well, you spotted Coinbase years ago.
We did.
You spotted some of the biggest names ever years ago. Uber.
Yeah.
I mean, he was one of the folks. This is the guy who funded Uber in the early days. So what names do you see in your home, in your Tusk Ventures home that could really do well under this administration?
Well, there's two in particular, and it's partly because I just had dinner with both of the CEOs the other night, so they're fresh in my mind. But Dub, which is a trading platform, it's pretty cool, where you can look at. Stephen's come on, right? Yeah. So we led the seed round for Dub. My partner Jordan is on Stephen's board. Fintech has been an area that has really been treated very hostilely by the Biden administration. So crypto, which we kind of all know about because of the rise of Bitcoin lately, but fintech even more broadly beyond that. And so we think that a lot more innovation in that sector is going to open up now. So Dub, we think, is a big winner. Another one's called Odyssey. So Odyssey manages school choice programs. So in states that allow parents to decide, I want to send my kid to maybe the public school, but maybe a private school, parochial school, homeschool, whatever it might be, and states say, we will provide you with tax money to do that. Odyssey manages these programs, and because the Trump administration, we think, will be very friendly towards school choice, it's a much more of a Republican concept. The states that do this tend to be red states. We think that now it's at least possible that Congress could say, let's appropriate money to give parents more options, more choices, and force the public schools to do better right now instead of just letting them have a monopoly. And so those are two companies that we think will really benefit from this.
With all that you are doing, you also wrote the book, and you came on the show to talk about it, How to Vote on Your Phone.
Yes.
We just got through an election where 84 million Americans went to the polls to early vote.
Yep.
Many of them by mail. Do you see this happening in our lifetime?
I do. So what's interesting is we have this weird dichotomy in the U.S. where the presidential election has great turnout, fantastic, and everything else terrible. So you and I are sitting here in New York City. Do you know what city council turnout was last year? 7%, right? So you could win a council seat here with like 8,000 votes, right? You just talked about 84 million early voters, so it's the opposite. I don't know that we'll ever have or need mobile voting for a presidential. Where I think it's really needed is all these super local elections, city council, state rep, state senate, maybe even the House, where you have turnout of, say, on average 10%, and then way small groups who tend to be the most ideological, the far left, the far right, whatever it is.
They're the ones who then show up.
And they control everything. So that's really what I'm concerned with and trying to prevent. If you remember, back in the days where at Uber we were fighting the taxi industry for the right to exist, the way that we won is that we were able to get millions of our customers through the app to tell their elected officials, hey, I like this Uber thing, leave it alone. And it worked. We won in every single market in the country. So I believe that even if it's just for state and local primaries, you could materially increase turnout and then let more things get done.
Uber and Waze, for me, are the two most life-changing developments in the last 20 years.
Wait till Vote Hub comes to your phone.
Vote Hub. All right, Bradley Tusk.
Liz, thanks for having me.
Great to have you.